if I'm back a bit, but then we're just like cramped. You tired already?
No.
Bored already? Yawning, are we?
Oh, we're doing it already then.
You look so bored. Hello, honeys!
Welcome back to my channel. If you're wondering where I've been, I haven't been anywhere.
No.
I did go to the World Cup, but that was months ago. Since then, I think...
Oh my god, you've actually got Ben's salad top on. I've got merch on, but I've got the You Know top on. You know.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, you did.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, you did. Anyway, if you're new here, then basically my name is Imogen. This is my dad, Ben. Ben Salad is what we call him, because really I used to say Ben's a lad, and then if you put Ben's a lad next to each other, it looks like Ben's Salad. Anyway, hi, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, please subscribe, hit that like button, because we've been doing 3 videos a week on this channel, and me and dad have got a lot of 24-hour challenges coming your way, haven't we?
We have indeed.
And we're also going to be doing Hunmas this year, which if you didn't know about that, that is Vlogmas every single day of the month, which we are going to be doing, and we're going to be doing giveaways every... I know.
Am I washing that?
I know, look at it.
Am I?
No, look, I've got makeup all over the front
Really?
as well. Anyway, let's get into the video. So, basically, on my channel, I have been doing Storytime Sundays. Every Sunday, bar some, I have been doing every single Sunday a Storytime. And this series is to do with bullying. I've been donating all of the proceeds from these videos I've been making from AdSense to all of the charities linked in my description. Please go and check those out if you need help for anything. I've linked helplines, I have linked email addresses, I have linked a lot of things, because we are encouraging you to speak up and out, because you should not be able to suffer alone. You should not have to suffer alone. So today I've got Dad on the channel, because we're going to be doing Dad's side of the story. Dad had to experience a lot throughout my bullying process, and as we get towards the end, I wanted to have my dad come on here and talk to all of you about certain things that happened to him, and just in general talk about it, because we all love Dad.
I love Dad.
I love Dad. I love Dad. So yeah, Dad. Do I have to ask you questions?
I don't know if you do, or do you want me just to roll
just go.
my way?
You are so good at this.
I am very good at this. That's what they said when I did a film TV interview back in... Anyway, that's another story. That's for another Sunday.
Another story time.
When it's a normal day where we can talk about normal things, basically normally about me.
Oh, here we go.
Imogen just lets me on it so that I can talk about me. But going back to the bullying, actually I remember when Imogen went from one private school she went to...
Can't say the name.
It's been printed down what they did.
Do you think?
It was written in their new thingy.
Okay.
They admitted. So anyway...
We'll try not to say the name, but
we'll try not to say. So anyway, the thing is, when Imogen left one school up the road, very lovely little school, she went to the lower school at the school that I'm not allowed to mention. So, but you already got it anyway. Yeah. So here's the thing. When she went there, during the summer, we thought, well, actually, you should try and meet up with some of the new girls whose class you're going to be in. But that didn't really go to plan. So basically, when Imogen went to school, pretty much straight in, there was already online abuse before she even went back to the school.
Yeah.
So that's what was really worrying, is because it was long before your Facebook and all that. It was MSN. Not that I go back that far. Obviously my birth certificate's wrong. Imogen's is correct. Mine is wrong. That's what I say to everyone. But here's the thing. So we go back in. I have to go to the headmaster and the headmaster of the lower school and say to him, look, this is what's been going on during the summer. I want to draw your attention to it, because as far as I'm concerned, when someone puts up my daughter's face with
devil
horns, blood coming out the eyes, the whole package,
telling me to die,
telling her to die, with all the things that were linked in below, all the most obscene phrases that they could think of, things they wanted to do collectively as a group, they got together. And if you think I'm sort of sidetracked, it's because there's like a ladybird.
Yeah, there is up there.
On the inside of my window.
Oh, is it on the inside, Dad?
It's on the inside. So if someone's not been cleaning correctly,
Dad.
Obviously that's me. OCD will return later.
I did tell them about the sports day and everything else.
Well, the funny thing is, obviously we live very close to some of the people that did this, and I see them, parents, and the parents are very good to us now, and they're very friendly.
Yeah.
But at the time, you see, when there's a group of children that collectively gang up on one particular individual, you know you haven't got a leg to stand on. And you know that you're not going to get heard by the school, or at least we didn't get heard by the lower school. And I remember going to the school on various days and dropping Imogen off.
You used to have to come into the school. I was telling them you used to have to come in and drop me to my lessons and wait with me in the morning. You wait with me in the morning, wouldn't you? So
but then they preferred I drop her outside. So I remember one day watching the headmaster, whose name I can't mention, looking at me through the window. And as I sort of let Imogen go through the first steps to go into the playground area, they literally descended on her like a swarm of locusts or hyenas, whatever you want to say, to then start the process. And I looked at him and I went, are you watching this? Are you actually getting this? And he just looked at me, swung away, pulled the window down, and that was it. That was his involvement. That's as far as he got to it. So it got progressively worse, and it got to the point that the moment I made the complaint to the school, the lower school, my mistake, should have gone to the upper school where my older son was. And I remember on one particular day walking across the sports field next to whose name I shouldn't mention, but we mention it anyway because I don't care. What can he do?
Got some more memory now.
So don't fall over, we've got a bit more memory. You'll need a lot more memory because this is still up here. So I remember on the one particular day going across the sports field with the Mr. Amelia, and I said to him, listen, I've got to talk to you. What are you going to do? I said, my daughter is beside herself. We're beside ourselves. And he went, Mr. Hudson, today's not a day, it's a sports day. I don't give up about that. I'm not interested in sports day. I'm actually interested in what you're going to do. This is not the time or the place. When is the time? When is the place? Because now it's affecting my older son, so I want to know what you're going to do. He did absolutely nothing. I had a meeting with him and his deputy headmistress, and it got to the point...
She was awful.
She was funny. Actually, there's a part of the story you actually will like, because actually the rest of it...
I don't know a lot of this.
It's difficult to actually say some of it. That's on my bed. Oh, but anyway, it's okay, the bed's a bit dirty. Not my linen, it's the t-shirt we showed of Imogen. Anyway, so here's the thing. I remember we interspersed this with a bit of humour because it's very difficult to say some of it without getting really, really angry. And I did get angry. But I remember going to the school, and some parents, we tried to reason with them. And say, look, come on, I've got the evidence. This is what your daughter's saying. This is what she's putting up online. But they didn't really want to know. And I remember one particular parent coming up to me in Wicks, where I used to carry Hugo. Because obviously I was doing the house up, and I used to go in and pick things up. And I remember being in the queue, and this man shouted out at me, are you Imogen's dad? And I went, yeah, I am. And he went, I'm gonna... and you. And I said,
threatening dad.
I said, do you realise I've got a 3-month-old baby in my arms, you're surrounded by people in a store with CCTV, and you're threatening to do untold things to me because your daughter's bullying my daughter at school, and that's how you're going to approach it. So, and it got to the point where he was so verbally threatening and so actually pushing to get to me, other members of the public were holding him back from getting to me. I said, I'm not scared of you. I don't find you intimidating. The fact that it's on CCTV means that you will get a knock at your door from the police to say, why are you threatening a man with a child? Come at me when I haven't got my child. Otherwise, don't come at me at all. So that was one occasion. And it just got to the point where Imogen was getting ill.
Oh, that's all right, Dad. It's alright. Dad. I knew we were going to get emotional on this.
That's why I don't do these videos. That's why. That's why.
You had it so good. You had it so good.
I had to mix it in with the other stuff. So, this is actually really funny. So it got to the point where...
It's not funny.
No, it's not funny, actually. And I remember thinking, you know, what to do. And luckily, I had a neighbour next door to me. Don't try and make me well up. And... she was head of all the governors of the schools. She was the mayor of Brighton. So we finally got to the point where I had to take it to the upper school. So I went to the senior school where probably the most respected headmaster...
He was amazing, wasn't he?
All schools was there. Very well respected. He's written many biographies of the last prime ministers. A scathing one on Tony Blair. True, it actually should have been. But anyway, that's a political thing. But going back to, he knew every child's name. He knew every sibling, every parent's name. And when I went to him with what I had to take to him, because at that point we were going to have to pull Imogen from the school. Because
they wanted 2 months worth of fees.
Well, actually, before we get to that, we arranged a meeting. And I remember walking up and down outside thinking how I'm going to compose myself, because it's very difficult. You get very emotional. And then they called, one of the secretaries said, Mr. Hudson, you're late. I went, no, the meeting's at such and such 30. 2:30. Obviously I had a dental appointment.
Yeah.
That's how we intermitted.
2:30,
2:30.
So
It wasn't 2:30.
Jokes, so we don't cry
So
as
here's
much.
the thing. I go into the meeting, I sit there and I present the same evidence that I presented to the headmistress who decided to show up from the lower school. The headmaster of the lower school didn't show up. He sent the deputy headmistress to do his bidding for him. So the meeting started and I was speaking. Did you present this evidence, Mr.? I said I presented it within the first week of the returning to school in the summer term. And he went, Miss, I never saw that. I never had any of that. We never saw this.
Lies.
And I went, yeah, we did. Yeah, I showed it to you. And then as we continued to talk, Dr. Sun said, but Mr. Hudson, why didn't you come to me first with this? Because I would have sorted this out long ago. And I said, I felt I was better placed, because it was a lower school, to deal with it within the lower school. At which point, interjected with some rant. And
did she fly? She flew off hand.
She started, and he said, do not interrupt Mr. Hudson again. Please, do not interrupt Mr. Hudson again.
Good.
And she sat there, didn't know what to say, because obviously she'd been thrown into the lion's den by Mr. which he probably doesn't like it, but I'd like to meet him again.
Yeah.
And anyway, so I said, I can see your point that Imogen, because she was removed under doctor's supervision, he said, we can find her school this afternoon, Mr. Hudson, because she really doesn't need to be not at school. She needs to be in school, and I would welcome her.
Me, weren't you?
Yeah, he said I would welcome her back here in the senior school.
How could I have gone
But
there?
I actually said the problem with that is that my elder son is already now getting the fallout from siblings of the brothers and sisters at the school. So I said I'm actually going to send her somewhere else. And so he found her a perfect school, didn't he? But we home tutored for a while. Sent you to perfect little school. It was a little bit of a drive. Obviously, I didn't have to drive. I dumped at the top.
Sometimes you did, though.
Sometimes I would.
I'd call you and be like, please come.
Please come and pick me up.
And it was an hour away.
Actually, it isn't. It's like 10 miles away, but because it's one road, and if someone decides to have a fallout or drive like a crazy person, the road's blocked, and therefore you've got one way in, one way out. So I used to dread the phone call. Pick me up. No, don't pick me up. Get the school bus home.
But it took a long time for anyone to actually admit that I'd been bullied, didn't it?
Well, actually,
you had to go to a tribunal.
We went to a tribunal at the school, and it was arranged that I remember speaking to your mum about it. I've still got to make that. Yeah. Anyway, I remember speaking to your mum about it, and she said to me, "How are we going to approach?" I said, "Well, I know what the school are like. Having dealt with them, we're going to do it this way." So I spoke to my neighbour, the mayor, and I said, "I need your help." And I explained to her the situation. She said, "Absolutely no problem, Ben. I'm going to be there for you." So on that particular day, and I remember it vividly, walking across the courtyard, we went to their conference room, as you would call it, and there was a humongous table. I'd like to say like the Knights of the Round Table, but it's more like an oval as opposed to a round. Although it felt like that I was about to be hung, drawn and quartered. They had the head, the deputy head, they had 2 independents, and they also had a guy from the headmaster from Josh's school who knew us really well.
Really?
He was there as an independent to oversee
an independent?
Yeah, I know, which was really surprising.
Which is a school now owned by, isn't it?
Which is now owned by. But the funny thing is, I remember speaking to him every day when I used to pick my nephew up at school about my daughter's situation. So he already knew anyway. But I knew that we wouldn't get anything done. But I remember turning up at the day, and they came to greet me at the door, and I said, "Mr. Hudson," I said, "Yeah, we're here." He said, "Oh, you've brought someone with you?" I said, "Yes, of course." I said, "Because there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of you by the looks of it, or maybe 7 there were, and there's me and my wife." So I felt it was necessary to bring someone to talk on our behalf at a very difficult situation. And this person is the mayor, Jenny Langston.
Yes.
And they looked at me and said, "Well, I wish you'd have told us." I said, "Well, I didn't actually expect a whole table full of people there to question just us. I felt, actually, I'm very glad that I did bring this person with us.
It was like they were trying to make you liars.
Oh, the funny thing is, when they sat us down, they gave us a pencil and a piece of paper, and they were all gathered around one end of the table, and we were sort of, the three of us, all sort of...
kind of intimidation idea.
So intimidating. And Miss Langston, to her credit, she spoke for us. And during her opening speech, I remember and someone else deciding to just go off on one, just literally interrupt her and go crazy. And I remember Jenny Langston saying, no, I didn't interrupt you. Why are you interrupting me? And they wouldn't stop. And I could see, and I'm pretty sure it was the lawyer of the school sitting there, or someone like that, sitting there holding his head as to say, I can't believe you're just doing this. Like the way you're going into meltdown when someone's speaking.
It's because he knew he was guilty.
They knew they were guilty.
Yeah.
And the long and short of it is, yes, they were guilty, because Jenny Langston said at the end of it, Ben, when they sent us the minutes of the meeting and the outcome, basically
they had. I remember you and Mum crying from the outcome.
Well, I remember. What was it? I remember Jenny Langston actually saying Imogen won, because basically not only did they admit they failed her, and they did fail her, because Jenny Langston tore them to pieces in the meeting.
What a ledge.
Because she was on the governor of every school in Brighton and Hove. She was like more letters after her name than all of them put together. All of them put together, less letters after their name, which I don't know. I can put letters after my name, but hers actually meant something. And the funny thing is, she said they've admitted that they didn't do due care of Imogen. And their new, I think, 7 or 8 pages about bullying, which they originally said they were never going to accept internet bullying or bullying on the phone, text messaging bullying. None of this was relevant at a school. But they then included it in their new brochure to basically say they screwed up and they didn't listen to the things that did actually have a massive effect at school, because it was ongoing at school. And so we did win. So Imogen did actually...
All of the teams I had to get pulled off of.
Oh, remember you...
Remember all of it?
I know, and the funny thing is...
They put me in the E-team.
E-team.
And I was the A-team captain.
A-team captain put in the E-team. And the funny thing is that Imogen to this date still can sue. Because
Mum
Jenny said
that.
you can still sue them for the damages and the way in which you were treated, because they admitted liability. And that's what they did.
Horrible. But didn't he have kids
was
as
a
well?
frog in my throat.
Didn't he have kids?
Of course they did. They've all had kids. And the funny thing is, when it comes to the fees, the lower school did try to pursue me for 2 months' fees, but Dr. Selden said at no point will we ask you for fees, Mr. Hudson. You don't actually owe us anything.
I've been signed off by the doctor.
So we didn't actually have to pay.
No.
Didn't have to pay.
We won.
We won. Actually, there's a little sub-note to this story.
My parents are amazing.
My elder son had a little bit of an issue at one particular school. It got to the point, we won't go into his details, maybe we don't want to.
Yeah.
But it was severe, very severe. And I remember thinking, because I know what people are like and how they gang up and they make you look like you're in the wrong. So I remember going to this meeting with a tape recorder.
Good.
Very small tape recorder and a mic which popped out. It's a bit like James Bond, only it was cheap and nasty. It wasn't cheap and nasty, it was £69 from Argos.
Hudson.
So I had this little microphone down my sleeve, so that when I was speaking to the headmaster and I said, now look, this has gone on, and you do realise, given what actually went on to my son, happened to my son, I could actually go to the police and I could have had the individual prosecuted. He said, to be fair, Miss Hudson, yes, that's true. You could have easily gone to the, and I'm glad you left it in-house for us to sort out. I said, well, you haven't sorted it out, so now I'm giving you notice.
It was the headmaster's son.
Deputy headmaster's son.
Deputy headmaster's son.
Deputy headmaster's son. I can't remember his name, but the school no longer exists. Maybe that's a good thing.
Yeah.
But then it was a charity given, I don't know, we'll pass on that. But what we do know is that during the meeting, I made it clear to him that if my son was bullied anymore, I would remove him immediately. I wouldn't be paying any notice fees at all to the school. And the headmaster agreed. He said, Miss Hudson, if your son is bullied from here on in, you do not have to pay any leave. You can, obviously, we'll agree, you can take him out of school immediately. I thought, fine, got it on tape, took it home, kept that in the bag next to the bed, fine.
Bag that one.
We went on holiday, came back, we were back late from our holiday because I felt that my son needed a bit of a pickup. Went back to school. Within, I think, a day, 2 days, they were picking on him. My son rang me. I said, Dad, they've started again. They've done this, done that. I said, don't worry, I'll be there. Walked into the school, picked up all my son's stuff from all his classrooms, took him out, put him in the car, went back home, told the school that he would not be returning because of the bullying has started again, etc., etc. Funny thing is, the bursar rings me up a few days later.
What's money?
Says, Mr. Hudson, you've left the school, but you owe X, Y, and Z fees because you have to give 1 term's notice. I said, it's funny you should say that. Because I tell you what I've got a get out of jail card. I've got a recording of your headmaster saying, how dare you? I said, no, I recorded him. I recorded my conversation whereby he said,
they're so sly.
If there's any more bullying, you don't have to pay. And he slammed the phone down on me. And I knew the phone would ring back. About 5 minutes later, the phone rang back. And it was the headmaster of the school. Mr. Hudson, I'm sorry to hear that Jacob won't be returning to the school. We do, however, wish him well. And there will be no outstanding fees. Of course there's no outstanding fees, because I've got you by the kahunas.
Jokers.
So that's how I remember. And I've always, to this day, I've always said to Imogen and anyone else, even if you go to a workplace environment, or you're at school, or you're out of school,
record it.
Record it. That's all you need to do, because people will say the nastiest things. People will lie and they will twist things and they will make you think that you are the one and that your child is the one who's in the wrong. And
yeah, at one point, did they try and make you and Mum be like the ones that were doing something? Like me, I was the one that was bullying the whole of the school. They tried to say that,
and my daughter was throwing herself down the stairs because she wanted to get these other pupils, and she wanted to get herself thrown off the A teams into the E teams because she was the #1 sportswoman.
Not allowed to be in Oliver, not allowed to be in anything.
And the dancing, remember the dancing?
Yeah, the dancing. It all started from sports day, didn't it?
Sports day. But the dancing was funny.
They weren't used to it because I turned up my spikes, didn't I?
And I'm not sure if you're affecting... Yeah, you are a little bit there because...
You have your light then, but I feel like
here's the funny thing is, I know that a couple of the eyebrows...
down a bit?
I don't know, but I know that a couple of my eyebrows have changed colour because we've been sitting here and they've gone very grey in the light. And
Do you think I should close the blind? Nah, it's nice to have the sun. We don't have it that much.
Someone came here the other day and said to Hugo, Hugo, your hair looks so blonde now.
It looks so blonde.
And he went, yeah, because it's the sun, it's done it, and I said, yeah. It's funny, mine has the same. It said it goes darker in the sun. And the girl looked at me and went, and you die. I mean, let's not get into that. But now that you can see there's a few odd bits, we need to touch it up. But going back to the dance, I remember Imogen, we never used to let her dance at the school because she used to dance outside of the school at various places. And your dance teacher insisted that you join up, didn't she?
Yeah.
So Imogen joined up at the dance classes.
But like a year
Only
later,
one.
Yeah.
Only one dance class. And she was dancing, and the pupils within her class, it was the first time they'd ever seen her dance. And the teacher said that for some reason you moved her to tears.
I don't get it. I don't get it.
I don't know whether she'd onions
I used
in her
to be
eyes,
alright, didn't
but
I?
you were really good. And I remember you coming home and saying that. And then the girls didn't like the fact that Imogen was praised by the teacher, and then the teacher made a slight faux pas. Love that word. Don't know what it means, but made a faux pas.
Error.
I knew that anyway. You lupo. You like it, really?
I never used that faux pas.
And she put Imogen in with the girls 2 years older.
Yeah, and I only did 1 term and they did 3.
They did 3 terms. Imogen did 1 term, and Imogen was already dancing with 2 years above herself with the older girls and still keeping up with them. So it came to the actual putting people forward for the exams, and the dance teacher said, I'm putting Imogen forward for this, and these other girls, some of them weren't getting put forward for it. Parents went straight into the school. It was like a red rag to a bull. They went straight in. Why has my daughter, she's been dancing for 3 terms, why is she not taking the exam? So the parents had bullied the headmaster into making the dance teacher accept all the pupils for said dance exam.
Because the parents are paying X, Y and Z to the school.
Of course, to get this, that and everything else. My daughter's head of house, like, because she gives a little bit more.
Yeah.
I would never send my child.
My daughter's the prefect.
To
because I pay
a private school again, actually.
No.
I would never. Actually, that's wrong. Not at the time. Other schools that we've been to have been
lovely.
Perfect. So but they did taint me against the system. But now it's more difficult to get away with bullying. Still got the Ben Salad t-shirt on.
Still got the
So we're going to interject with a bit of humour. So the other girls went into this exam, and I can't remember how many of them actually passed, 2 or 3?
Yeah, and I think
But you got the highest mark ever given?
Yeah, I got 98 and they got 56. That was the closest to me.
I would have got 99, but I did actually take the exam.
But do you know what my parents always taught me? If you see someone that's talented, or you see someone that's good at something, or even if they're not good at something, you praise them, you give them that. If I saw someone be moved 2 years above, I'd be like, Dad, this girl's got moved up 2 years. She's absolutely smashing it. You don't get funny about it. Like, I was only ever competitive with myself. They hated me because of that, didn't they?
Oh, they did. They were actually unbearable.
Evil.
So I said we should never have let her dance at the school. And it wasn't the dance teacher's fault. It was the parents of the pupils and the pupils themselves. They had this ingrained thing that, like the sports day, Imogen ran at the Withdean Stadium. Sports day. I keep mentioning that name. Not sure that I should, but we're going to stick it in there anyway.
Bleep it out.
No, not bleeping it out.
Oh God.
I don't want it bleeped out.
Do you know people have messaged me and said that they're
I don't want
it's still going on. It's still going on, and that's
why would you bleep it out?
Okay.
No one bleeps it. I mean, in Houses of Parliament they bleep stuff out, but I won't bleep all out. So here's the thing. I remember the sports that Imogen had spikes. Because all the other children were wearing spikes. One particular mother came up to me.
I missed the time trial, didn't I? So they just put me in the fastest race.
Yeah. So I remember the mother coming up and saying, "Oh, Imogen's running in spikes." And I went,
"So are your kids."
I think your children are all running in spikes, and I don't see an issue with that. Imogen wiped the floor with them in the 100 metres. She destroyed them. That's because of training.
It was the 200 metres though. It was the
200 metres was the funniest. I
told them I came round the corner.
No, before you got to the 200 metres,
they passed out.
Imogen, one of her best friends at school, couldn't believe Imogen had beaten her, and I said to Imogen, Imogen said, "Do you know what? I'm not gonna run the 200." She went up to the girl and said, "I'm not gonna run the 200. I didn't want to win," and all the rest of it. I said, "What's she talking about?"
Yeah, I felt really bad for winning.
I said, "What do you mean? If she can't take it?" I remember her parents carrying her.
Yeah, I told them she collapsed on the finale
and they carried her off the track up past us. But she miraculously recovered for the 200. And I said to Imogen, "You're running the 200." So, and I remember sitting there thinking.
You keep talking, Dad. I'm just going to do this.
Sitting there
I feel
thinking,
like your head's white.
Well, I don't know. Maybe it's making my hair look. Well, now.
Oh no.
Now I'm completely. You can undo the blind bit.
Oh yeah.
Whilst we're in the darkness, and there you go. Now I've got lines across my face. Something I don't have because I use creams.
Wait there.
Now you're making me look like I've got lines.
Is that better? No. What's happening?
Maybe I sit here.
Is that better? That's better.
I just got to sit
Oh no,
a bit
still
further
lines.
back.
Still lines.
So get rid of the blood. I'll
Dad,
just sit further back. No, lift the
there.
blinds up.
There.
Really?
But it's quite dark now.
Now I look red.
No, it's all right. I'll turn up the brightness on here. Oh, that's down. I'm a really bad YouTuber, Dad. Is that better? Oh, you've still got little lines on you. But the light is better.
But if there are lines, they're not actual lines, because I tell you, my skin is as soft as a...
Where are you getting them little dots from?
What dots? Oh, that's from that
Oh, that
dot.
bit. No, there.
It's
done. It's
so
gone.
here's the thing, the 200 starts, and I said to him, don't look around, you run, and you run, and you run. And when you pass the finishing line, you keep running.
Oh, yeah.
So that's how I taught her that's how she won the 100. You keep running. You don't give up on the 90 metres. You don't stick your neck out. Like you run. You're not a giraffe. You keep running past the line. 200 comes on the first bend.
I looked up at you.
She looked up at me because she looked behind and they're nowhere. She's literally on the first bend. They're gone. And I went, run!
Competed. Yeah.
I said, run! Like that. I remember at one school, Imogen used to do the sports day at this other school before she went to Brighton College. The other school was very sweet. So luckily, one of us got a good memory. What was I saying? No, anyway, that's throw a bit in there. And here's the funny thing. I remember Imogen running in one of the races and I went, come on, maggot!
Yeah.
And the teacher came in, Mr. Hudson, not really appropriate to call your daughter a maggot. I said, but she is. I said, she is.
So I used to get in and out of everything.
I could put her on a table while I was decorating the house, and I remember a pot of varnish being there. It was at least 9 feet away from her. She became Mr. Elastic, and the hands reached in, and I turned round and like there's like varnish dripping all over the hands. I'm thinking, oh, maggot! Because like a maggot eats into an apple. That's how I went with it. Anything.
Anyway.
So she won the 200, not by 10 metres. By about 40 metres, she won that race. And I jumped up and went, yes! Not because I was triumphalist, but because I thought, you've shown them.
Daughter, yeah.
Proud that you'd have done that. And one of the mothers come up to me and said, oh, Imogen ran very well. We'd never know she was so fast. Must be the spikes. I went, you've all got spikes.
And they were slagging off their daughters, weren't they? They were like, she didn't do very well.
I know, because it was a full-on competition.
She did terribly.
The problem was, in those days, lots of people had lots of money and we were the poorest out of the poor.
Yeah, we had scholarships, didn't we?
And the next stage, getting on to the next school, it was all about the upper school. Could you get a scholarship to the upper school? So you had to be better than everyone else, as opposed to
just being happy for everyone else.
Being happy for everyone else and joining in, because it makes you a better person. But they then go on to jobs.
The school have on the back of their minibuses School of Excellence. They think they are that prestigious, don't they? They have School of Excellence on their buses as if they are perfect.
When they do, I get my paintball gun out and I start firing at it. I don't advocate any of that. Although I did say to my son once, when he was getting bullied, smack 'em back. Which wasn't a good thing.
But he wouldn't.
But you know, that's what I used to be taught at school.
Yeah.
My parents used to say, Ben, if someone's
never the answer.
Just give them a smack back, they won't come back at you. And so I probably did one day, and I think we had a fight a whole day at school, me and this boy.
Oh my God.
But do you know what?
It's
We're
not like
best of friends. It wasn't like that. You don't fight back. Record it.
Talk to people
and tell everyone.
If you don't have parents that maybe back you like my parents do or other people's do, I understand. Tell a friend, tell Childline, tell NSPCC, tell anyone you can.
And
tell
write
the
it
police.
down. Keep a diary.
It's abuse. Tell the police. You need write it down.
Always write it down.
Log everything like we did. Screenshots of everything. Log everything. You have to, because essentially you're going to fight against people that aren't going to want to admit it, because a lot of schools don't want to admit.
And it's the same at school.
Yeah.
And the same at work. People will work.
And in relationships. If you're in an abusive, toxic relationship, you need to speak up and get out. Get your confidence back enough to move from it and move on from it. Honestly, I do these videos and I do these story times because I want you to all know everyone goes through things. You might look at me and think, oh, she's a YouTuber, she's got the perfect life or anything like that. Things happen. Doesn't mean I don't have, you know, a happy life, but things have happened where I feel like I wouldn't be doing my duty if I didn't share that with you. And also, my dad's got so many story times. Please, 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 if you want to see my dad, because he has so many story times, we have so many family story times, we could talk for hours about other things.
Well, what about me? Just talk about me.
Just talk about dad. If you want to see dad more on here, please give it a massive thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, join my family of Huns, because I genuinely believe we have the most loving family on the internet. Go and make friends in the comments section, please. I'd be so beyond grateful. And yeah, if you want to see dad more.
What did the girls say to you today in Starbucks?
They think I'm relatable.
Because when I was in there, she smiled when you came in today. She saw you in George, I think. Yeah, she said.
Oh, she's so nice.
Like she was saying.
What's her name?
Yulia.
Yulia, we love you, Yulia. Starbucks down on Western Road. Is it Western Road?
It is Western Road.
Yeah, Hove. Yeah, we love you. Thanks for even calling me relatable. Thanks for every single person of you watching these videos. Honestly, I don't have story time next week, but I have it the following week after that. So we're going to continue Storytime Sunday. With all my heart, I love you. Until next time, I'm going to love you.
But I'm not going to leave you, unless, of course, I don't get invited back.
Oh, do you like the merch? Because we've got new ones for Christmas.
Well, mine's my own.
Oh yeah, I know. You can't get Ben salad.
Well, I got like that on the back.
Oh God.
I got that on the back.
Imagination, way! And I've got this on the back. You know if you don't know.
I got one of them, haven't I? Black. Where's my black?
Maybe it's this one. With the same size.
No, you bought a black one with Ben salad on it.
Oh yeah, I did. I think it might be in the drawer downstairs, you know. Anyway, I love you all so much.
We're going to go look for my other t-shirt. Bye.
Thanks for doing this, Dad. I love you.
Yay, love you.
I love you. Oh, you're the best.